Senator Lindsey Graham has represented South Carolina in the United States Senate for more than 20 years. He is a military veteran and has made a real name for himself in the Senate as a conservative problem solver and a staunch defender of American interest at home and all over the world. A great friend of Israel as well, and one of its champions. One of the reasons I really respect him. Would you please welcome to our show in Nashville for the first time, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, great to have you here.
Wow.
You know, there's been a little thing going on in Washington this week. It's been kind of crazy. Do you sometimes just feel glad to get away from there and come to...
like every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm heading the right direction when I get to Nashville in South Carolina. But that was really good, Mike. How about a round of applause for a guy that stands up, tells it like it is?
Well, thank you.
So, I do this for a living. This is the best food I've ever had on a TV show. I don't know who does it, but hats off to him.
You and I have been friends a long time, and one of the reasons that I think we are.
We're getting old.
But, you know, we have a common interest. For one thing, we're strong believers that Israel is the most important part of the Middle East and brings stability to the rest of the region. What's happening there now, and are we going to be able to see progress from the Abraham Accords that happened before?
Well, let's start with the idea that Israel's a friend. How about that?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
So it's a democracy, common values and common enemies. I can't think of any group that wants to destroy Israel that doesn't want to kill us too.
That's a good point, and it's very true.
And they've been a great friend. They give us a lot of intelligence about what the bad guys are up to. And the Abraham Accords was an effort by President Donald J. Trump.
Yep.
Remember that name?
Yep.
Who turned the Mideast upside down in the right way. You had a group of Arab countries recognize Israel as a one and only Jewish state. And there's an effort by President Biden that me and you're going to help him. We don't agree with him on most things. But it'd be nice if Saudi Arabia and Israel would come together, wouldn't it?
It would be.
That would be the end of the Arab-Israeli conflict. That's possible, but it was only possible because of the Abraham Accords. What President Trump did, he went into the Mideast and says, I'm a friend of Israel, and if you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah.
Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Every politician said it. Trump did it.
He actually moved the embassy.
I was there with you.
I was there, and it was surreal. After all the years of people promising, he just went and did it. And Senator, 2 weeks after that happened, I was having a meeting with him in the White House. I'll never forget. I said, Mr. President, everybody told you not to do it. Everyone said not to do it. You did it anyway. Why? Right. I'll never forget. He said, well, I said I was going to do it, and it was the right thing to do. End of story. And I thought, how refreshing for an executive just to say, I said I was going to do it, so I did it. And it was the right thing to do. And that's all he had to have.
And, you know, if you got a problem with Jerusalem being the capital of Israel, take it up with God. Yeah. He's the guy who did it.
Well, that's a good point, because he was
He's the guy
one
who did
to put it that way.
Yeah.
Senator, you were one of the Republicans that voted against the debt ceiling, and there were a lot of the conservatives who did. Your reasons for saying it's just not what I'm going to say?
Well, the number one job of the federal government is to defend the nation, right? Yeah. We got 50 states. I think the states should do most things, but you need Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, all that good stuff that you're talking about, the real heroes.
Yep.
Well, this budget we got is 2% below inflation. How many of you think China's somebody we ought to be worried about?
Yep. Me.
Yeah, amen.
You bet.
If you ain't worried about them, you shouldn't be on watching this show. So, because you should go get some help. China's an enemy.
Yeah.
This budget takes the Navy from 298 ships to 291. The Chinese are going from 300 to 450 in a decade. So it's just inadequate to the threats we face. So that's why I voted no. I've tried to be consistent since I've been there. If you don't get national security right, there is nothing else going to matter. How many of you are on Social Security like me? Well, that only works if you're free.
Yeah.
And you can live free. And how many of you go to church every Sunday and sometimes on Wednesday? That only works in places like this. It doesn't work in China. So if you want to be free, somebody's got to pay the price.
Well, and you served in the military. You were a member of the JAG Corps. You were active duty, and then for a long time in the reserves.
Yeah.
So I know it's something that you understand firsthand. Are we seeing, however, in the military, a level of wokeism that is not about national security, but it's about diversity, equity, and inclusion more so than it is lethality of our forces?
So I had the Secretary of Army over, and I said, I hear you're falling short in recruiting. Yeah, we are. Have you ever wondered why? Let me tell you why. There are a lot of people in the military, have young people, have military family, and it's changed way too much. The military is paying for people to go get abortions. I think there was 20 in the history in the last few years. Now there are 4,000 abortions where people are given money or paid leave to go have an abortion. That's not what the military is about, right?
Yeah. No.
The military is about bringing us all together, black, white, rich, poor, doesn't matter where you come from. You put on the uniform, you're an American, and you go defend us all. Well, that's not being done now. It's about dividing us. It's about celebrating our differences rather than what we have in common. So that's why people are not joining. And I can't wait to 2024 to fire this crowd.
Yeah.
Get them out of town. Run them out.
I hope people understand that is the power of an American citizen. Ultimately, people answer to the voters.
Right.
But if we don't vote, nothing changes.
Well, I tell you what, vote by mail, crawl to vote, take a plane, whatever it takes to get you to vote. But we got to start voting earlier because by election day, we're so far behind. But God help us if we lose another election, okay?
Yeah.
I'm for Trump. I don't know who you're for.
I'm for Trump.
We got a lot of good
very
choices
vocal
on
about
the
it.
Republican side, right? It doesn't have to be this way, Mike.
Yeah.
You don't have to live this way.
Yeah.
Trump showed us how to secure the border, right? He stood up to the terrorists.
Yeah.
He killed the bad guys and he stood by the good guys. We had lower inflation. We were energy independent. And you can get back to that only if you choose to get to America. You better wake up.
Senator, this week has been, in a way, just beyond even comprehension.
Yeah.
A former president and the current leading candidate by a mile in the Republican primary,
Right.
the likely opponent to the sitting president,
Right.
was indicted and arrested by the current president's Justice Department in an attempt to make sure that he can't be president.
All you're missing is the bananas.
It feels like that. I mean, this is the kind of thing that happens in some South American dictatorship.
Totally. Well, we're going to punch through all this. Stick with Trump, okay? Just stick with him. We're going to punch through this. Speaking of Trump, you ran for president.
Yes.
You actually got votes. And you were the last guy standing against John McCain. I remember that. You're a really good politician. You know who you are and you know what you believe. But Mike was one of the 16 people who ran against Trump, including me.
Yeah.
And if you don't remember me, it's not your fault I didn't last that long. So
none of us did.
I called him every name you could call him legally on the air. And he won, and he called me up, said, I'd like you to help me. I said, okay. And he's the president. And people ask, what happened with you and Trump? Well, I found common ground with the president. Yeah. I come to like him, and he likes him. And that gets us around the golf course.
I've never seen anybody in politics who can take blow after blow after blow to the head
Yes.
and then get up off the canvas and go back and put some more punches out there.
So why do they hate him and fear him so much? Because they know what he can do if he gets the job. If you're pro-life, if you believe in owning a gun responsibly, if you believe in limited government, you believe boys shouldn't play in girls' sports, then you're an enemy of the people.
Yeah.
It really ain't about Trump. It's about all of us. When my friend John McCain won, he was the crazy old guy. Romney was the guy who put his dog on top of the car, mean-hearted billionaire. If you're a Republican, you could have the Dalai Lama win the nomination. They'd go after him.
Yeah.
But what they hate most about Trump is he can connect with people that no other Republican's done since Ronald Reagan. And that's why they're trying to destroy this guy. And it's not going to work. We live in a country, if you're the Secretary of State running for president, you can take a hammer to a cell phone and you can wipe emails clean and nothing happens to you.
Nothing.
Nothing. So it's not right, and we're going to fix it in 2024. And if Trump gets the nomination, he's going to win because he can look the camera in the eye and say, remember when I was president? Remember how you felt about your country? Remember when the border was secure, when I had the cops back, not the crooks back? Remember when I took on the terrorists and killed them before they could kill you?
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, and gasoline was a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
groceries were cheaper.
Afford to drive. Right now, you have to take a mortgage on to fill up your car, to go fill up gas, and you probably get robbed when you get at the gas station. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way.
Washington has also been rocked by the revelation from the whistleblower.
Yeah.
That there are credible sources of evidence, not just hearsay, that the Biden family took millions of dollars. Now, James Comer from Kentucky, head of the Oversight Committee, says it could be to $20 to $30 million from foreign governments to influence policy. Senator, that's one of the most scandalous things, but the press is ignoring it.
Well, listen, if you're looking for the press to tell you anything about a Democrat, you need dogs to find the truth. The bottom line is, I don't know what happened, but we're going to look into it. I'm not going to do what they did. I'm not going to take something and run with it knowing it's not true or it may not be true. Two wrongs don't make a right. But I do know that Hunter Biden took money from Burisma, the largest oil gas company in Ukraine, one of the most corrupt places in the world. He was on their board. Why? Because he was Hunter Biden. And if it had been Don Jr., it had been all over the newspaper and he'd be in jail. But now that's the world we live in, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to fix that world come 2024.
Well, let's hope we do. Senator, I can't tell you how happy I am to have you here.
Thank you.
It's an honor. I appreciate your friendship. I hope you'll come back and be on the show again.
You need to come here. If you're watching, this is a ton of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
If you want to follow the senator on social media, if you go to Huckabee.tv, we will connect you with Senator Lindsey Graham and all the work that he's doing, not just for the people of South Carolina, but for you as well.